My girlfriend cheated on me with my cousin. I was going to propose to her. Hi, welcome to my channel. Today, we've got a story from r/infidelity where Op's girlfriend cheated on him with his cousin, and the worst part is, Op was planning on proposing to her. Before we start, if you have any personal stories of how you got out of a toxic relationship with your cheating wife or girlfriend that you want to share, feel free to email them to me. Let's get started. Original story. Years ago, I was best friends with this girl, Catherine. We knew each other since we were kids. Her family and mine all knew one another and were close, the kind that finish each other's sentences close. Catherine and I were always there for each other. I helped her through some crazy stuff. Her mom had a health scare, but everything was okay, and she got me through a bad breakup in HS. Catherine and I had some attraction to each other growing up, but we never acted on it, afraid that something could go wrong and ruin our friendship. Even though she was insanely beautiful, her and her mom and sisters, I kept everything purely platonic. But I would often notice some of her boyfriends she had were a lot like me, and she would always fight with them about comparing me to them. I always felt responsible for these breakups and told her after her last that maybe we needed to spend more time away from one another so she could figure out what she wanted. She texted me the next day saying she wanted to talk at her house. Got nervous because I didn't know what to expect. She sat me down in her living room and told me everything. That she was in love with me and wanted more than just being friends. At first, I thought it was a joke, because when this happened it was on April's Fool's, can't make this up, but then she kissed me and I was hooked. I kept thinking how dumb I was constantly avoiding this chance that I had with her. Little did I know. Things with us were perfect. I felt like a king that found his queen. Our families were ecstatic, in full pre-wedding mode even though we were by now first starting college. Her dad said to me with a grin on his face, "About time." I was wondering what was taking so long. We did everything together. Had a lot of good times and bad, but we always faced them and never hid anything from each other. Yup. She was looking like the love of my life material and constantly told me how she would love me forever. I was on cloud 9 until I noticed in later months that she and my younger cousin, M18, were hanging out a lot recently. My cousin wasn't exactly the most responsible person in the world. His dad left him when he was 8, but I always looked out for him and considered him a little brother. I noticed he would at times look at my girl the way dudes look at any girl they're on the hunt for and calmly asked him what's going on, and he would sheepishly say nothing and walk away. I didn't pay any attention to it at the time. One night when Catherine and I were chilling in my dorm watching a movie, she randomly said, "Please don't ever leave me," in a sad voice. I told her that would never happen, but all she did was give me a sad smile. After that, things started taking a turn. She grew distant and kept withdrawing from me. Even when we had sex, as much as we loved it, it felt like it was becoming a routine to keep me happy instead of keeping us happy. This went on for about 5 months. Then by Valentine's Day, she was back to normal. All loving, fun, and full attention. I even bought her a diamond necklace with the money I saved up. It was a good day, which makes what happened all the more bitter. I had plans that I was going to propose to her that night, but I had forgotten to get the ring from my dorm. After I dropped her off, I went back to my car and checked to see if it was there before I drove away to my dorm, and sure enough it was there. Dropped it under the seat. As I was getting ready to go back in to surprise her, I saw my cousin drive by and park right in front of her house. My car was in the shadows, so he didn't see me. But he went to the door, Catherine opened it and they were talking. He kept trying to kiss her and she feebly told him, no, but then they were in full makeout mode. She took him by the hand and they went inside, didn't even bother closing the door fully. I was livid. I started breathing hard and heavy, felt like I was going to pass out. I couldn't believe what I had just seen. My heart was telling me to wait before I did anything crazy, but my brain said finish this. I got out and ran to the door quietly, going inside the house. As soon as I go in, I hear her in the living room moaning wildly and him grunting. I was seeing red, but I stayed in control. I took out my phone, hit record, quietly walked to a corner of the living room, and saw what I can never unsee. Her riding him bouncing like some damn banshee. Once I had enough proof, I called out to her and they both freaked out. She jumped right off of him and they just looked at me speechless. Then she went into the sobbing mode, claiming, "I can explain, please don't hate us." My cousin was pale, knowing I could easily beat him into oblivion. But I didn't stay around. I showed her the ring, told her, "You threw this away," and left. I got what I needed and just left them, as they chased after me putting on their clothes, trying to bullshit their way out of getting caught. Then came the insane text. Things like, "I'm sorry, please talk to me. It's not what you think, you don't know his story, it just happened one time, he was being a good friend, he was helping me and I couldn't tell you, don't break us, we can fix this, "You're being petty and immature," and my favorite, "It didn't even last long." To finish, she tried to shift blame onto me when I didn't respond, but that all went to shit for her when I exposed her. And the fallout was a nuclear mess. Her sisters, except for the youngest, tried to blame me for all of it and trick me into taking her back, but I wasn't having it. Then they told me it was going on for 5 months. Around the time I noticed them getting close. She kept sleeping with both of us, with no protection from him. I knew right there I was done with her. They were barely clothed when I busted them. She in only her bra and him in only his damn socks. It was like watching porn only in real time and me as an unwilling audience. The sounds and things she did with him at that moment, I thought only I could get her excited like that. She claimed she always loved my body. I work out a good amount, but seeing her bouncing on his bony ass, I have to admit, made me feel insecure for a time. There was no reconciliation there. All I could think as I'm driving away from them was, what did I do wrong? I gave her everything and got rewarded with her backstabbing. When we were dating, she was on birth control. Except for one time, I usually wrap up. I was glad I did, since my prick cousin went raw on her and probably finished inside her. I never yelled at her. Never mistreated or ignored her. If she was happy, I was happy knowing she was happy. We knew each other our whole lives, and I foolishly thought she was the one. One time we went to a tarot card reading at the mall, and the lady there told me that a great love would find me. I told her she already did, referring to Catherine. But she gave my girl a funny look. That should have been one of the red flags right there. Not a day goes by when I'm not thankful I caught her. I would have married her not knowing the kind of person she was. The aftermath, as I mentioned, was cataclysmic. After I nuked them both, her parents kept blowing up my phone demanding to know what happened, saying Catherine was inconsolable. So I told them what happened. Her mom dropped to the floor and her father just kept apologizing to me, saying I didn't deserve this. Sides were made in this and a lot of friendships were broken in both of our families. Her 2 sisters, the youngest, didn't know the full story at the time, along with our circle of friends, kept attacking my phone with texts saying I needed to talk to her, and the oldest wanted me to take her back, even coming up with some bullshit excuse about a mental defect she just magically happens to have. Like I should be the one to rug sweep her cheating. She decided to cheat on me. Then they told me everything about how and when it happened. Those 5 months she would tell me that she was making up some overtime at her work and how her coworkers would cover for her. And how nervous he got seeing me when I went to see him and my aunt. I was a trusting fool that always wants to see the best in people, and I got burned for it. Catherine kept calling me constantly. In her voicemails, her voice always sounded tired and strained from her crying and saying that I shouldn't do this. She felt like a part of her died when I left and begged to speak to me, claiming that I swore I'd never leave her. I couldn't allow myself to hear her anymore, so I blocked her. I never responded to any of her messages. My cousin tried a few times to reach me, but I ignored him too. I never forgot the smug smile he threw when I saw him in my rearview window as I drove off. I knew if I saw him, I would want to hurt him, and I could easily do it, and he knew this. But no jail time is worth my freedom. My aunt told me that he felt guilty, yeah right, and told me that he did what he did because he wanted to know what it was like to be me. I was done after that. I went no contact with both of them, moved away, and never looked back. I was 22 at the time, she was 20 and he was 18. The first year was tough. I was never cheated on before, and it messed with my head. But I had plenty of friends to help me out. And my mom and dad were great support systems. My buddies took me on a trip with them to France to help clear my head. It was the best thing to happen to me. Seeing the Eiffel Tower, eating some madeleines, and learning some French helped boost my confidence up. And getting to sketch some French girls nude gave me that extra boost. Now I'm a 27 years old graphic designer making good money, enjoying my life. Went on some dates but nothing concrete. Then a few months ago, one of the last people I expected contacted me. Catherine's youngest sister, Alexa. Said she got my new number from my parents and wanted to catch up with me. I was always cool with her, so we started texting and catching up. She and I clicked. It felt new and exciting with her. The last time I saw her, she was a cute skinny kid with braces. But when she sent me a pic of her now, my jaw dropped. She was out of the world. Stunning. The ladies in her family were always gorgeous, but puberty took its time on her. We recently met up, and she hugged me so tight, I honestly didn't want to let her go. We started hanging out a lot, and she told me a little info about what happened after I left. My cousin did knock up Catherine that night. They decided to try something for the baby, but he cheated on her and then she cheated on him. Things went south for them when she gave the baby up for adoption. After that, Catherine moved to LA. Don't know or care what happened to my cousin. She said she never forgave her sister for hurting me and said that she used to have fantasies of me and her playing house. She had a crush on me and said that she always thought about me and I was the perfect guy that her sister didn't deserve. I told her I like her too and would like to start dating her if she'd have me. So that's where I am right now. Good job, good life, and I'm falling in love again. And I'm happy. I learned a lot from my experiences and want to share my inputs when I see posts put up. To let people know there is life after infidelity. To remind people it's never too late to start over. And more importantly, never settle for second best. It worked for me and it can work for them. Again, I'm sorry for how long it is. If you are still here, thanks for hearing me out. Before we take a look at some replies by other Redditors, take a moment to like the video to show your support to the channel. Don't forget to leave your own opinion on the story in the comments down below. Now let's look at some comments. Badgerbrush20 wrote, "What a wild ride. You seem like a very well put together dude and I'm ecstatic to hear how you're doing. That is a serious mess that you somehow surfed on top of. What did Catherine say or her parents say when you started dating the younger sister?" Op replied to Badgerbrush20 and wrote, "Her folks, who I always got along with, were surprisingly supportive. Her dad's nickname for me was son-in-law, so when everyone found out about me and their youngest getting together, he said with a pat on my back, 'I got my son-in-law back.' He is a chill dude." Her mom was cool with Alexa being happy, but I could feel some tension with her. I think she always thought that Catherine and I would work it out and get back together in the end. She's at least civil with me. Catherine was pissed when she found out. Started talking about how she had plans to win me back, but Alexa wasn't having it. From what Alexa told me, it got ugly. The eldest sister had to step in and stop them. Quahog 1945 wrote, "C will always be a pain in the ass for you and Alexa. You and Alexa need to let Catherine know that she's welcome to be part of your family as long as she's supportive of your current relationship and doesn't make any advances on you. Take it slow, be deliberate, and best of luck to you." Op replied to Quahog 1945 and wrote, "You're right about the family part. It's been so long since having to deal with her. But I don't want there to be any more conflict between Alexa and Catherine. I told Alexa this, even suggested that maybe we should cool things off, but she said to me she wants a future with me and won't give us up. I told her I want the same, but we have to figure out how to go about this. Keep in mind, I still haven't seen Catherine since our split, which is why I think Catherine is going crazy. Her family is having some event at her house to which I'm invited, but that means I would see Catherine again. She understood if I wanted to opt out, but I can tell she wants me with her and I'll want to support my girl, so we're going together. I love her too much to disappoint her. I'll be careful. And thank you." OK Replacement 7697 wrote, "I'm so sorry, my dude. For everything that happened to you. This was a heavy read. But, I do have a few questions. First of all, it has been so long, yet why does she keep trying to get back to you? Has she, in all this time, tried to talk to you? Before you contacted, do you plan to update when you go to that meeting? What do the other sisters think about this? Did they stop blaming you? What happened to your parents and your aunt? Does she try to make you forgive your cousin?" Op replied to OK Replacement 7697 and wrote, "To be honest, I don't know if Catherine wants me. I think it's her just wanting closure since I ghosted both her and my cousin and managed to move on without playing the pick me to dance with her. She knew how I felt about cheaters and she still did it anyway. I think this is her just trying to pull strings. Those 5 years don't just disappear." A little after D-Day, she kept texting and calling me, pleading for me to talk to her, we can work through this and that cheating can make us stronger. It got to the point that her older sister tried running damage control with some of our social group. I found out later they knew about her with my cousin. Even making up some BS of her recently having BPD and blaming me for ditching her. Her pleas and dozens of voicemails were like nails on a chalkboard, so I blocked her number. I never responded to any of her messages. Tomorrow is when Alexa and I go and see everyone, including her. I know what I'll say to her. I'll update once it's done. The eldest of the three, her, Catherine and A, tried to private message me to talk and see if she could trick me into meeting with her. I barely got along with her due to how jealous she used to get seeing me with Catherine and now Alexa. She thinks I'm stealing her sisters and called me an asshole for breaking up her family, which I don't get. Catherine cheated on me, not the other way around. She's on Team Catherine, which I get because it's her little sister, but I don't trust either one. Especially with her cheating. Yeah, she and Catherine have a lot in common. My folks were always my best support. Them and friends. My mom and dad know that once my mind is made, there's no changing it. They kept my spirits up. I hope when I have kids, I can be like them. My aunt and I are still close. I never blamed her for what happened. She still wants me and my cousin to patch things up. Wild Grapefruit 9177 wrote. Op, just to ensure I understand. So after the night, you filmed your cousin and Catherine getting jiggy with it, you never even spoke with her again? You said you listened to some of her messages and read some of her texts. So I get it. I also get that you would never talk to her again. I'm surprised she didn't try to ambush you at work or in college or something. There is no real reason why Catherine was banging your cousins, except that she wanted to. Did you ever hear via the grapevine what she wanted to give you as a reason? Thanks in advance. Op replied to Wild Grapefruit 9177 and wrote. Yeah, my dude, I was done. After seeing the two of them going at it and busting them, there was nothing left to discuss with her. I saw enough that would make even porn stars go into early retirement. There's no coming back from that. I was physically repelled by her at that point and she knew it. Also, if I didn't get out of there, I would have beaten my cousin AP to the dirt. Listening to her messages and seeing her texts just annoyed me. She kept trying to trickle truth and rug sweep the whole thing and even gave BS like, if you love me, you'll talk to me and give me a second chance. We knew each other since forever. I think I deserve that. Don't ruin us. I think she was just losing it at that moment. From what my buddies told me, she did try some sneak visits at my dorm a few times, even tried breaking in. I told them to keep her away. She never did state her reasons, to be honest. I never asked. Her oldest sister said she was confused and was feeling lonely and even suspecting I was going out behind her back, which wasn't true. She said that she wouldn't tell me unless I saw her, so I said deuces. I wasn't losing my mind for that. Wild Grapefruit 9177 replied to Op and wrote. You did the right thing. Catherine's other sisters are shit people too to try to get you back with Catherine after what happened. At least they finally told you it had been going on for 5 months. So you haven't heard from your cousin or your aunt since then either? That's been about 5 years? Do your parents ever see your aunt or cousin? If my nephew did that to my kid, I'd cut their whole family out of my life. Block them on everything and tell them not to call me or anyone in my family. Your cousin was an evil MF. Who cares if he was horny and 18? Catherine was evil too. You dodged a huge bullet. Op replied to Wild Grapefruit 9177 and wrote. Yeah, but what always burns me is that they all knew. For as long as it went on behind my back. I was in the dark for 5 months and they knew. Not one of them was decent enough to tell me. They decided to do this when it was too late. But karma got the last laugh in all of them. As for my trash cousin, haven't heard a word out of him. He was always a coward with confrontation. I'm still trying to figure out his whole endgame. The prick went raw on my ex, got her pregnant, and then decides to go AWOL after getting his just desserts. And for what? Just to hurt me. Just because, of all girls, he takes mine? And she idiotically let it happen. I looked out for him at all the highs and lows and got the biggest and sharpest knife in my back as my reward. But I took it out and made it my sword. As far as I am concerned, he's just a stranger to me. My aunt of course knows where he is, but I won't ask her. She wants me to, but I don't care. I moved on. My dude, not just a bullet, I dodged a nuke. Thank you, my guy. That means a lot. World Happy Smile wrote. Alexa sounds like the type of person I would consider family, who knows her values and priorities instead of using blood as thicker than water crap. Sometimes blood family is toxic. Look at Alexa's sisters, including Catherine, who had an affair and the older ones kept the secret. LMFAO. Alexa seems like the only one who didn't let that toxicity change her views and ideas. Anyone you choose to make memories with and trust can be considered family. Some family betrayals like our cousins are way overboard, and no, there is no coming back from it at all. Alexa Fool may take his chances, but Plaza never reach out to your aunt and cousin. Stay strong the way you are. I'm glad you found the one. What do you think about all of this? Do you think Op will ever be able to completely heal from his girlfriend's infidelity? Also, do you think perusing the relationship with her younger sister is the right move for Op? Lastly, do you think this relationship will work out, or is it doomed from the beginning? Let us know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Hit the notification bell to make sure you never miss an upload.